What is up, Stockton, California? This is 93.5 KWDC Delta College Radio, and I'm your girl, Carolita.
And this is your boy, Troy.
We got the mayor Lincoln up in the building. What's up?
What's up, 209?
We out of here.
Let's go.
What is up, Stockton? You're listening to 209 Talk on 93.5 KWDC Stockton. 209 Talk is a collaboration where local college students sit down with the mayor. The show you're tuned into right now was put together by students enrolled in the broadcasting courses in the digital media department at San Joaquin Delta College. Thanks for listening and supporting college radio. I'm your girl, Carolita.
And this is your boy, Troy.
And we have Mayor Lincoln in the building.
What's happening, everyone? Good to be with you. If I can just get that out this morning.
You sound just as nervous as I am right now.
I'm telling you, it's a little bit intimidating sitting across the table from you guys right now.
I think it's the mic. Something with the mic and the lights and the camera.
I don't think it's us.
Yeah.
Because why would you be nervous with us?
Yeah. No, 'cause we were fine when the camera wasn't rolling, and the mics was off. Like, we was fine. Like, really, though. But as soon as it says it's time to action.
Lights, cameras, action.
I'm not made for this life.
Does it to the best of us.
That's it. All right, cut. Let's run it back. No, just kidding.
So this week we are going to get to know you, Mayor Lincoln. So how are you? How have you been doing?
I am doing fine. I'm doing good. Yeah.
Is that a real answer, or it took a minute to answer?
It is a real answer.
Yeah?
It really is. Yeah. What I've learned in life is just everything's about perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? And for me, I try to be very intentional about seeing that glass half full.
That's hard, especially nowadays. But with gas being $5 again. Almost $5.
My tank is half full. That's how I look at it.
Empty?
That's how I look at it right on my way on the drive here. I was looking at my meter. I was like, man, my tank is half full. I'm good today.
Right?
Well, I'm going to tell you that my tank is actually full because I filled up yesterday.
Okay.
See, there you go right there.
Right.
Perspective. That's all we have. That's all we have.
You go to Costco or Safeway? Because those are my two favorite ones.
Whichever one I'm closer to. And they're my favorite because they're the cheapest.
Right.
Hold on. Where is the cheapest gas in Stockton right now?
Costco or Safeway?
Costco or Safeway. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Especially Costco. If I go to Costco, though, I don't fill up halfway. I have to fill up all the way because I sit in that line for so long. I have to do the whole tank.
Yeah.
Quality, premium gasoline at a great price.
Yeah.
That's Costco.
So you feel a premium?
They could probably run an ad with that.
Right. They're going to hire you. They're going to need you as a commercial.
You better get that big bucks, Mayor.
Right.
If they come with you for some ads, you get that big bucks. Are you allowed to do that?
As you're making that comment, I was saying that it's thinking, I have to volunteer that type of service.
Yeah.
You have to volunteer?
I can't.
Yeah. See, when I was saying that, I was like, hold on. Is that something like any political figure can do to I know like the campaign, when there's campaigning or campaign season, like there's ads, there's all of that, right? But like as far as like Costco, right? So you wouldn't be able to get paid for like commercial spots or anything?
There are rules that govern all that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So the president is not allowed to own like a business, right? While they're doing it. Are you allowed to?
There are rules that govern all that at different levels.
Oh,
so there's
okay.
different rules at different levels. We'll be here all day if we try to.
Break the code. Break the code.
At the end of the day, I have to do what's right.
That's good. Yeah, no, respect that. Yeah. And what's right now for you is the city of Stockton.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The city of Stockton, my family, our community are all things that are important to me and that are right, that are top of mind, top of priority for me.
Can you tell us a little bit about like a story that you have in Stockton or about Stockton? Since were you born and raised here?
I was born and raised in Stockton.
Can you tell us a story that since you were born and raised here, a story since then?
Some of my fondest memories, especially as a young man, was I would spend my summers with Stockton Parks and Rec at Anderson Park, between Anderson Park and Seaford Center. That's actually where I learned how to play basketball and learned how to play basketball competitively. And yeah, I learned a lot. I built a lot of relationships. There was a lot of mentorship that took place for me personally in that season of my life. And it was a very tough time within my family. Parents were split up, and you know, I got a lot of personal direction in that season just by being in those environments.
So basically, like having an organization and structure, right, to help you get through like what was going on at home.
That's right, and it was the community that helped me out there. Absolutely. That's why community is so important to me, and that's why I love doing what I do. And I really genuinely mean that, is because as a kid, the city's given back to me a lot. My father, kind of in my family, there was a generation that took from this city, right, by making poor choices and decisions. And now I'm in a position to give back to the city as the mayor. And, I have two high school students, a 17-year-old son and a soon-to-be 16-year-old daughter, junior and sophomore. And now we can continue on a legacy of giving back to the community as well.
Can you tell me more, like, what are the poor decisions? Because when you hear poor decisions, it could be multiple things. So what are those poor decisions? It doesn't specifically have to be your dad or anything like that, but what are some of those poor decisions?
Well, I'll just share the decisions that have directly been a result of my family and the impact. And that was substance abuse. It was crime. It was just things of those natures that took from the community, right? And, my dad found himself in a position where he was actually homeless during some of my teenage years. And that was really, really hard because he was making poor decisions, and he'll tell you that led him to that point. Unfortunately, he or maybe fortunately, because perspectives, how you look at it, he was incarcerated for a couple of years, and that helped, he'll tell you, that helped him get his mind right. He got really rehabilitated. He came back into the community, and he spent the next 25 years giving back to at-risk youth. And what I tell people is that, all the years I didn't have with my father during my childhood, there's nothing more that I can ask for as a son, is that when he got his life right and together, he gave to so many at-risk youth in our community what he could never give me. And I'm thankful for that, because I walk around this town today and I interact with people that come up to me and say, "Man, we love your dad, Coach Kevin," because we have the same name. Yeah. And or they ask me, "Are you Kevin Lincoln's son?" And I'm proud to say yes, right? And that's just, to me, that's one example of many Stockton stories, and that's how I feel I could relate to the people of Stockton, is because my story is not much different than theirs.
Now, I definitely appreciate you being, vulnerable enough to share that, right? Because this is like we all have family stories, and sometimes we don't want to put that out, right? Because it's something that maybe we aren't comfortable with a lot of folks knowing our stories, right? Because it's something that, hey, this is sacred. This is
it opens it
family dark secrets, whatever. You know what I mean?
Especially in like being a mayor.
Yeah, politics, right?
People talking about it.
Exactly, and in the political arena, we don't hear a lot of vulnerability coming from politicians. And for you to share that, though, I appreciate that, because it now what it does is it opens up and allows folks to really like get to know you, right, and say like, yo, he's actually one of us. Like, he go through some. I was gonna say some. He go through some stuff too. You know what I mean? Like he's been through some struggles, and that's relatable to the folks out here in Stockton. I'm talking about your father being incarcerated and being one of those that took from the community, right? And we had this conversation before, because I was one of those who took from the community. I took a lot from the community. Things that I can't give back, right? And here I am. I do have a platform now and able to give back, right? And I work for a very great organization in Stockton, and we hold workshops in City Hall. We hold workshops in City Hall with at-risk kids, and like coming out and being released, like it was a whole new for me. It was like I have an obligation to give back to my community, and so just like the story you shared with your father, like I felt that because that's the road I'm on right now, So I appreciate you sharing that.
No, absolutely. I always believe everybody has a story, and every story is important. And it's critical that we do share our stories because our story gives hope to other people. It paints a picture of opportunity as well. It sends a message that my past doesn't define me, and that I can choose to make the right decisions today that's going to help chart what my future looks like, or tomorrow looks like, or the rest of my day looks like. We get to make those choices every day. And we get to make poor choices, and we also get to make positive choices. Yep. And it's up to us. And that's why it's a priority for me to spend so much time with youth and in our school system, to work with my educational partners, those school districts, so that we can all do our part to engage and empower and bring hope and opportunity and inspiration to this next generation. Because 10, 15, 20 years from now, one of these kids that I've been meeting with and visiting at these schools is going to be my mayor one day.
Yeah.
Is going to be my physician one day.
He's going to be like, hey, mayor, remember that one time?
Yeah, I'm going to pull up in my electric vehicle, and they're going to work on my electric vehicle or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like whatever it is, that's why what we do
Yeah.
is for the future. Absolutely.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
What are some of the what is your administration putting in place for the future? Like you're saying you're giving back. What are some of those things that your administration is giving back?
Well, one of those things that I've been a huge champion of, one of the things I've been a huge champion for and a huge proponent of, obviously, is youth, right? And youth programming and development opportunities. And one of the things we're rolling out here at the next couple of months is a youth workforce development program, summer jobs program, directly with City Hall, and also with our community partners through community-based organizations. So that's significant. And the way that we built the program is where it's scalable. It's built to last. And so as long as we can continue to provide funding for it to meet this critical need and create these opportunities and career pathways, we're going to continue to do that.
How I want to ask about like the programs and the funding, right? Like if there's a program that is shown to work, right, but then funding may be short or cut, how can we ensure like programs like that or similar continue to get the funding that is needed to keep thriving and to keep helping folks?
We have a lot of great organizations in Stockton. That's what I love about Stockton. There's a lot of great community-based organizations.
You like over 2,000, like.
Yeah, nonprofit organizations that do great community-based work. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we focus on as well is that nonprofit CBO capacity building. Yeah. Because you're only as healthy and as strong as your organization. Mm-hmm. And what contributes to that is how your organization is structured. We help our nonprofit organizations in partnership with United Way of San Joaquin County, right? So we partner with them and they do the work. United Way is kind of like the Chamber of Commerce for nonprofit organizations. So it's all about capacity building. And then we want to see these organizations that help us with some, get these programs off the ground. We want to see them be able to build in sustainable funding as well, right? And we help them with that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna do that to because I also know like there's struggling organizations out there, right? Just barely keeping afloat, but do great work, but to have like resources like that, it just seems like all they have to do is just reach out and just, hey, just plenty of resources out there for the community.
One of the things that I created and stated was a budget, finance, and economic development committee. And the purpose of that is to create a space where if the community feels like they have a solution to meet a need, right now we've been talking about youth, that's a space where they can come before 3 council members, pitch their idea, and council periodically has discretionary funds that we can allocate to pilot programs like that. And so by creating that space, we're able to create more opportunities, because it's not, we want to create programs and opportunities that will meet the needs of the community. So it's not a top-down approach. It's not the city of Stockton, everybody at the top, quote unquote, is saying, we're going to do this program. No, we want to hear from you, community. What are the needs out there? What are your solutions? What's the cost? And then how can we take the next steps to working together?
Okay, we're going to take a little break right here just to get it all organized. Okay, we are back. And we were talking about the youth and the organizations and the funding. And one I want to ask is, like, what kind of activities are these fundraisers, or what is it, nonprofits, are putting together for the youth?
A perfect example would be this program I'm working with, the gentleman from down in Southern California, who's from Stockton, very successful, very connected, pop culture, and he wants to come back and invest in Stockton and invest in the youth. And so that's an example of me bringing them before our council in a committee and allocating funding for them so we can get this pilot program off the ground. So we're talking about youth activities, trips. We're talking about focus on social, emotional learning and mental health, right? Those types of issues that are impacting the core of our young people in today's generation, and then being able to leverage celebrity and pop culture to inspire them and even create more opportunities, because that's what happened for him.
Okay, so I have a couple questions about that. One with the mental health. There's like 1 out of 3 girls nowadays in high school and young adults are thinking about suicide. And you're saying that you want these mental health. Are you going to bring those to the schools? Because I'm pretty sure they're not seeking out mental health or seeking out therapy. Is there any way we can bring that into schools?
What we have to do is we have to work collaboratively across the board. So obviously the schools are, or if the public doesn't know, schools are a separate government entity than the city of Stockton. And there are several different school boards per se. So I have a good relationship with the County Office of Education. Also, there's a space, I have a good relationship with the District Attorney's Office as well, because we're talking about mental health that impacts our students, but also we're talking about opioids that impact our students as well. Specifically, fentanyl right now is at the forefront, that poison. And so I'm working with the DA's office to get some advertisements out there, to get information and support out there to our youth and to our young adults in the community. So we have to be at the same table regarding these critical issues impacting our youth, and work together to get that information before them and their families.
Is there any way we could not criminalize opioids? Because I don't look at it as a criminal aspect. I look at it as somebody saying they need help without saying it. And
there's a strong argument that you just made, right? But then there is a criminal aspect of it too for the people who are supplying those opioids, and that's not okay.
Correct.
And that's unacceptable.
Right.
And it's educating our students and letting them know that you have an outlet, you have people, you have a support system that you could reach out to, a number that you can contact if you feel like you need some assistance, or here's here's information that will educate you on this particular subject and empower you to make the right decision when you're faced with making one.
How are you guys going about that, getting that information out there? Because I know when I was in high school, when that information came to me on my desk, I was just like, I don't care.
Well, it gets out there through strategic marketing campaigns
Right.
and working with the school districts and meeting the different demographics, young people, older people on the platforms that they're at too when it comes to social media.
And then also, okay, about Jason, or I'm not going to say his name, but the guy you're working with.
See, she a snitch. I'm gonna like, she a snitch. I'm like,
He
she a
put it
snitch.
out there, so
I
I know who it is. But
So the
I'm not
specific
gonna-
program is I Am Ready,
Right.
and it is Jason Lee,
Right.
Through Hollywood Unlocked and his Hollywood Cares Foundation is the person that's trying to bring this to the city of Stockton.
See, I wasn't going to put his name because I'm going to ask. Do you think? Do you look at people's backgrounds, and do you think that bringing these people in is a good idea after you look at their background?
If people looked at other people's background in order to make a decision moving forward, then I believe in second chances.
Right.
And I'm not saying, that's not directed towards Jason, but I'm
Right.
just saying in general, I believe in second chances. I always encourage every time I go to a school and engage a young person, I say, don't be afraid of failure. Don't let your past mistakes dictate what your future could look like. Learn from those mistakes. The key is just not to make those mistakes over and over again. Now, at the same time, when the city looks to partner with somebody, there's a whole vetting process that person and that organization has to go through, and with a lot of checks and balances. And that's a very transparent process with that organization, because we want to make sure that we're providing the best service and the highest use service to the community.
Right.
And I think also too, like what you were saying about, like, the vetting process and just looking at background, and just, if we as a society just continue to just base judgment off of somebody's background, right, then that hinders growth and productivity.
Well, I'm just thinking about cancel culture, because a lot of people cancel and then be like, oh, wow, you're working with him. Oh, wow. So as long as you're saying that you vetted him, or vetted anyone, not just him, I don't mean just him, but like vetted them, or like people have second chances. I just asking in that aspect, because I know people would be asking, like, do you see what people say or whatever? That's all I'm asking.
People
Not
talk
on my
about
part.
people talk about me all the time, and they don't even know me. But how I respond to that is what makes the difference.
Right.
You see, because at the heart of it, I want a relationship or rapport with you, because I'm in it to best represent this city the best I can and to work with everybody. So you may prejudge me because of you may think, or we have different political ideologies, but I see past that. I'm probably going to be one of the most apolitical politicians that are out there. Right? I could work with anybody as long as you're willing to work with me. It may not go 100% your way. It may not go 100% my way. But at the end of the day, we're going to be able to have this conversation, hash out what we feel is a good agreement, and suitable for the community, and then move forward and walk away from that conversation knowing that we heard each other out. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, most definitely.
Conversations need to be had, especially in the city of Stockton. I feel like there should be like teaching in high school how to talk to people, because I feel like coming out of high school, I know for a lot of people it was just like, you fight because someone says something, but like I feel like there needs to be a class that tells you, no, this is how you communicate with people. I think even in college, communicating with people is difficult, and I think people need to be taught how to communicate.
Everything rides on effective communication. Bottom line. Whatever you're dealing with, no matter what setting, it rides on how well and how effective we communicate. And when I talk to students, and I just did a seminar, effective leadership and team building seminar with Delta College last week. And I said, when you think about effective communication and leadership and team building, The acronym I use is ACT. ACT. As an individual, be accessible. A, be communicative, and be teachable. It's important.
Teachable is very important because a lot of people think that they know everything.
You could do if you could focus and commit to personal development, lifetime personal development in those 3 areas. You'll be an effective communicator. You'll be an effective leader. You'll be an effective team builder anywhere you go, in whatever field you.
The learning doesn't stop.
Learning never stops. Mm-hmm. I learned that. Oh my gosh, learning never stops. Especially in our area, how we're like all technical. Everything changes every 5 minutes. Mics will be different by next week.
Yeah.
It's society, culture is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Society is constantly evolving. Technology is constantly evolving and changing, and we have to be We have to be able to adapt.
Okay. Talking about adaptability, and we've been talking about a lot of, like the youth programs. We talk about a whole lot of. I want to bring this full back circle on how you have been able to adapt. Growing up in Stockton, it's no secret that Stockton has a high crime rate, but the people here are so proud, right? Of being from Stockton. And how have you been able to adapt, within the community to be where you're at now?
It's all about engagement. It's all about staying engaged, staying out, visible, present, being accessible. That's that first, part of that acronym ACT is accessible. I try to make myself accessible. I know what drives me, helps me wake up in the morning and keep me going is the fact that I know how good this city has been to me and my family for multiple generations. My grandfather immigrated here from Mexico on my mother's side when he was 16 years old. He established a career in Stockton at a local cannery. He retired. The same year he retired, at 62 years old back in the day, he got his citizenship that same year, bought his first house. Right? So this city has been really, really good to me. And just to be able to be in a position as mayor to give back to the city, it's humbling and it's emotional at times because my heart is in it. I tell people the city of Stockton is getting the best years of my life because I'm only 42.
Look, lady, you ain't. I'm looking at you right now. You don't have any gray hair, right?
It's coming. It's coming.
It's going to all hit at one
time. by the tail end. By the tail end of it.
To Obama, he was all clean, and all of a sudden when he was out, it was all gray hair. He looked like he smoked a pack of cigarettes a day.
You ready? Are you ready for this life, Mayor? Right. You ready for the gray hairs?
Let's go.
Let's go.
I have to grow up one day.
Right? Oh, that's funny. But that's so real, though, right? And so being from Stockton and being raised here, born here, raised here, what are some changes like you've seen as, that you've experienced as a child, from your childhood to now? And, maybe some of the things were like, okay, I've seen things where maybe this has worked as in my childhood where like maybe it's outdated nowadays.
Especially with technology.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people, when they go to school, I know a youth, when they go to school and they leave school, when we back in the day, school would be over, none of the bullying. Now there's bullying on the phone. Like you're literally going home with the bullies in your pocket. So, yeah, I was just adding that.
Well, and that's definitely another area, like we were talking about, mental health and opioids, and bullying is another one of those campaigns as well for kids. But technology, the biggest change from my generation to today's generation.
Is it Google?
Is it Google?
All the above. It's the internet. It's Google. It's all the social media platforms, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, right? The TikToks. And what's unique about it is each generation or each demographic, they gravitate to a different type of platform. So you got a lot of students and a lot of kids on TikTok and YouTube, a lot of maybe Gen Zs or the younger generation, millennials on Instagram, a lot of the older generation.
The boomers.
Facebook.
Boomers, X, they're on Facebook. For sure. Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, like, for me, today, I have to be intentional about adapting to that and meeting people where they're at with information and being accessible on those different platforms as well. And doing it in a manner that connects with them on those platforms.
Is that difficult? Because, like, in the audience, audience usually all those different audience, and you're a mayor, so you have to get to all those different audience. Is that difficult to do that?
And there's always going to be critics too, though. Like,
right.
And on every level, right? So, yeah.
Especially kids, because they be listening to their parents and they wanting to type it out, like.
Well, the key is making people a part of the process. So it's not just a one-way communication or a one-way post or interaction or engagement on those platforms. It's two ways, because I'm meeting you where you're at, and I'm involving you and making you a part of that as well. So if I'm at a school and following my school visits, we roll up a highlight reel or a reel for TikTok. The kids love it and they share it, because they're a part of it. They see themselves in it, and it's a real authentic experience. And that's what it's all about. And because those are platforms where you can also build community. And if we want a healthier Stockton, we have to have healthier communities. And that's virtually, through social media, and physically in our neighborhoods.
It's already been 30 minutes, but we have so much more to get into. So make sure you guys tune back in for part 2.
Part 2.
Part 2.
209 Talk has been a production of KWDC 93.5 LPFM, Delta College Radio. This program is made possible by listeners like you. Programming is produced by the students, staff, and faculty of San Joaquin Delta College's Digital Media Department. It is supported by the Delta College Department of Arts, Humanities, and Multimedia, the Career Technical Education and Workforce Development Office, and the State of California. This is a collaboration with the City of Stockton Mayor's Office. Thank you for listening.